So Jonathan Y decided that the best way to dodge his legal and financial woes was to, quite literally, die. Not in the traditional sense, but in the let's just tell the government I'm dead sense. Welcome to the Security Brief for Week 34. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe and share this news. To our first story, alarming news from the cybercrime front. In a record-breaking trend, ransomware attacks have raked in an unprecedented $450 million in just the first half of 2024, setting the stage for what could be the most lucrative year for cybercriminals. According to a recent report by Chainalysis, ransomware gangs have shifted their focus towards high-profile targets, demanding larger ransoms from major corporations. This strategic shift has resulted in the largest ransom payment ever recorded, a staggering $75 million paid by a Fortune 50 company following an attack by the notorious Dark Angels group. So the cybercriminals have hit the jackpot, raking in a cool $450 million in the first half of 2024 alone. That's more than enough to buy a small island or fund a rather large pizza party for the entire population of a small country. They're not messing with small fry anymore. The big leagues, like Fortune 50 companies, are now the prime targets. Despite the best efforts of the digital police force, which includes everything from cyber SWAT teams to probably a few overly enthusiastic interns, ransomware attacks are up by 10%. It's like trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon. The median ransom payment skyrocketed to $1.5 million. That's not just a ransom, it's a lifestyle change for the cybercriminals. From can I get a yacht to can I get a fleet of yachts? Fewer companies are playing along with the ransom demands. A 27% drop in payments might suggest either a backbone of steel or an excellent backup system. Or maybe they're just really good at playing chicken with cybercriminals. Stolen cryptocurrency is doubling, turning centralized exchanges into the new Wild West. It's like the gold rush, but instead of pans, you've got fishing nets. Now here's the thing about all this cyber chaos. It's not just about the Benjamins, it's about the audacity. These cybercriminals aren't just thieves, they're entrepreneurs of chaos, offering a service with 24/7 support. They've turned crime into a business model that would make even the most ruthless corporate raider blush. Moving on. Toyota, the automotive giant known for its reliable cars, has confirmed that a third-party data breach has impacted its customers, raising serious concerns over data security at the world's largest automaker. The breach came to light after a cybercriminal group known as 07 Group leaked 240 gigabyte of sensitive data on a hacking forum. This wasn't just any data. It was the kind of stuff that makes you wish for the days when losing your car keys was your biggest worry. We are talking about data that includes information on Toyota employees, customers, contracts, and financial details. Toyota's like that friend who says, "It wasn't me, it was the guy I was with." They're pointing fingers at a mysterious third-party entity, which is linked to a U.S. branch of Toyota. However, the company clarified that their systems were not directly compromised. Instead, the data was stolen from a third-party entity that had ties to Toyota. The attack appears to have been executed using the AdRecon tool, the tool that sounds like it should be a character in a sci-fi movie but is actually just really good at extraction through corporate Active Directory environments. This isn't Toyota's first rodeo with data breaches. They've been on a bit of a cyber unlucky streak, making one wonder if their IT department's motto is, "If at first you don't succeed, try again to secure your data." So, what's the takeaway? If you're a Toyota customer, maybe consider your car's key fob as the most secure thing in your life right now. And for Toyota, perhaps it's time to invest in a digital moat or at least a very loud alarm system. Moving on, breaking news from the Oregon Zoo, where a significant data breach has put the personal and financial information of thousands of visitors at risk. In an alarming discovery made on June 26, 2024, the Oregon Zoo uncovered that its online ticketing service had been compromised by a cyber attack. The breach, which went undetected for over 6 months, involved a phishing page redirecting customer transactions, potentially exposing payment card details, including names, card numbers, CVVs, and expiration dates to unauthorized actors. So while the customers were going, expecting to lose their hearts to cute baby pandas, but rather got their credit card details lost to cyber pandas. Rather than exploring the jungle, they got taken on a fishing expedition. An estimated 117,815 customers are now at risk, prompting the zoo to issue a public warning and begin notifying those impacted. The compromised data could allow cybercriminals to make fraudulent purchases, leading to potential financial loss for affected individuals. To mitigate the risks, the Oregon Zoo has decommissioned the compromised ticketing system and implemented a new, more secure payment portal. They are also offering affected individuals 12 months of free credit monitoring and identity protection services. Additionally, the zoo urges customers to monitor their bank accounts closely and report any suspicious activity immediately. To the next news story, a significant cyberattack has disrupted operations at Microchip Technology, a leading provider of semiconductor products. You can say they have a chip on their shoulders after recently falling victim to a cyberattack, impacting its internal systems and causing operational delays. The incident, which was discovered in late August, has affected multiple aspects of Microchip Technology's operations, including order fulfillment and manufacturing processes. Although the full scope of the attack is still under investigation, the company has confirmed that customer data was not compromised. Microchip Technology has engaged cybersecurity experts and law enforcement to assist with the investigation and recovery efforts. The company is also working around the clock to restore normal operations and minimize the impact on its customers. So, if you're waiting on a new gadget, it could take some time. Maybe you can learn knitting? The semiconductor industry, which is a competitive market due to AI and chip making, is already playing a game of who can hoard the most chips. Well, things just got a bit more chaotic. How this will affect the broader implications for the industry remains uncertain. I guess we should let the chips fall where they may. Moving on, CannonDesign, a global architecture and engineering firm, has confirmed a major data breach following a ransomware attack by the Avos Locker group. The attack, discovered in mid-August 2024, compromised sensitive corporate data, including confidential client information and internal communications. Avos Locker, a known ransomware group, claimed responsibility for the breach and released a sample of the stolen data to pressure the company into paying a ransom. Avos Locker, sounding like a villain from a low-budget sci-fi movie, decided to play show and tell with CannonDesign's data. Pay up or your secrets become our social media posts. CannonDesign, headquartered in the United States, has been working with cybersecurity experts to assess the breach's full scope and mitigate the damage. The company has alerted affected clients and employees, offering support and guidance on how to protect themselves from potential fallout, such as identity theft or fraud. It's a bit of an irony. CannonDesign, a firm known for designing structures that stand the test of time, couldn't quite design a digital fortress to keep out the cyber marauders. On to our next news story. We have a critical cybersecurity warning for smartphone users. Hackers have found a new way to steal banking credentials from both iOS and Android users by exploiting progressive web apps, or PWAs. The attack, discovered in August 2024, involves malicious PWAs disguised as legitimate banking apps. These apps bypass traditional App Store security measures, making them harder to detect. Once installed, they steal sensitive information, such as usernames, passwords, and even two-factor authentication codes. These PWAs are like the ultimate undercover agents. They're not just knocking on your phone's door, they're moving in, pretending to be your bank's best friend. And just like in any good spy movie, by the time you realize it's not your buddy, your secrets are already halfway across the galaxy. These apps are so slick, they're like the VIPs of your phone, walking right past security with a nod and a wink. No need for the official App Store's stamp of approval. They've got their own backstage pass. This bypass method of attack is particularly insidious because PWAs can operate like regular apps, but are installed directly from the web, often without raising any red flags. Once in, they're not just stealing your coffee money. They steal sensitive information such as usernames, passwords, and even two-factor authentication codes. If you're downloading apps outside the official stores, you might as well be inviting a stranger into your home and handing them your wallet. So be aware. Moving on to a bizarre yet serious case of cybercrime. A man has been sentenced for hacking into a state registry to fake his own death. This incident, which took place in 2021, involved the man, identified as Jonathan Y. of New York, accessing and altering official records to declare himself deceased. His motive was to evade legal and financial responsibilities. So Jonathan Y. decided that the best way to dodge his legal and financial woes was to, quite literally, die. Not in the traditional sense, but in the let's just tell the government I'm dead sense. I mean, most people fake a headache to avoid work, but this guy? Nah, he went for the gold, faked his own death to dodge a few bills and charges. He successfully manipulated the New York State Department of Health's electronic death registration system, falsifying his death certificate to avoid facing charges related to fraud and financial crimes. Jonathan probably thought he was a master spy, covering his tracks like he was in a spy thriller. Spoiler, he wasn't. The authorities, in what must have been a wait-what moment, found his death certificate more suspicious than a free lunch. The scam was uncovered when authorities noticed irregularities in his death certificate during a routine audit. Jonathan was sentenced to 4 years in federal prison for his crimes, including identity theft, wire fraud, and unauthorized access to a computer system. What's the moral of the story? If you're thinking of dodging your responsibilities, maybe don't start by hacking into a government system. But hey, at least Jonathan won't have to worry about those bills now. Moving on, the Qilin ransomware group, those digital party crashers, have decided to up their game in the most annoyingly clever way. The Qilin has escalated its tactics, not only encrypting victims' files, but also stealing credentials directly from Google Chrome browsers. The attack begins when victims unknowingly download a malicious file, often disguised as a legitimate document. Once executed, Qilin ransomware encrypts the system's data while simultaneously extracting and exfiltrating stored credentials. The group then demands a ransom for the decryption key, threatening to sell or leak the stolen credentials if the demands are not met. This new capability significantly increases the potential damage from a Qilin ransomware attack, as it not only locks users out of their files but also compromises their online accounts and sensitive information. Experts warn that this could lead to more widespread data breaches and identity thefts. So imagine you are just browsing the web thinking your passwords are safe, and you come across something as innocent as a cat video or a recipe for cookies, not knowing these are malware. You click thinking, oh, this will be fun, and then poof! Qilin ransomware turns your digital life into a nightmare. Damn you cute cats. Moving on, a significant development in the global fight against cybercrime. A Russian national has been arrested in Argentina for allegedly laundering millions of dollars for the notorious Lazarus group, a hacking organization linked to North Korea. The suspect, identified as Nikolai K., was apprehended by Argentine authorities in Buenos Aires on August 23, 2024. Nikolai is accused of helping the Lazarus group launder cryptocurrency obtained through various cyber attacks, including ransomware and bank heists, amounting to tens of millions of dollars. Nikolai K. thought he could launder millions for the infamous Lazarus group and just chill in Buenos Aires like it's a vacation spot. Turns out, Argentina has more to offer than tango and steak. They've got handcuffs for international money launderers, too. Imagine the shock on his face when the police busted in. One minute you're sipping yerba mate, and the next you're being hauled off by Interpol. The Lazarus group, infamous for its involvement in high-profile attacks like the WannaCry ransomware in 2017, has been a major player in cyber warfare, often operating under the direction of the North Korean regime to generate revenue for the isolated state. This arrest is the result of a coordinated international effort involving multiple law enforcement agencies, including Interpol and the US FBI, highlighting the global reach and collaboration required to tackle cybercrime effectively. The apprehension of Nikolai K. marks a significant victory in the ongoing battle against cybercriminal networks, but it also underscores the persistent threat posed by state-sponsored hacking groups. Moving on, Halliburton, the giant of the oil industry, brought to its knees by a bunch of keyboard warriors. I guess when you spend decades drilling into the earth, you forget that there's a whole digital world up here that can shut you down faster than a vegan at a barbecue. The incident occurred in mid-August 2024, when Halliburton's internal systems were compromised, leading to disruptions in operations. The company quickly initiated a shutdown to prevent further damage, affecting multiple business functions. Imagine being one of the world's largest oilfield service companies and having to explain to your shareholders that a cyber attack made you go dark. Like, oops, our bad, we just didn't see that coming. I guess they were too busy counting barrels of oil to notice the gaping holes in their cybersecurity. Halliburton has assured its stakeholders that there is no evidence of a data breach affecting customers or sensitive information at this time. Sure, because the first thing hackers do after busting into your system is leave a polite note saying, "Don't worry, we didn't take anything important." Right, I believe that like I believe in unicorns. And don't even get me started on the ripple effects. If Halliburton's shaking, the whole energy sector is probably biting their nails, wondering if they're next. To our last story. Well, isn't this a plot twist for the ages? The American Radio Relay League, ARRL, the folks who probably still think the height of communication technology is Morse code, just got schooled by some 21 century cyberpunks. I guess when you're busy tapping out SOS signals, you forget to install a decent firewall. So there they were in June 2024, minding their own business, probably hosting ham radio contests and arguing over antenna setups, when bam, some hacker decided to lock them out of their own systems. Membership data, financial records, everything encrypted and held hostage for a cool $1 million. And what did ARL do? They paid up. I guess they figured it's hard to keep the hobby alive when all your members are locked out and your finances are in digital handcuffs. But hey, ARL's got some new cybersecurity measures now, so at least they learned something from the digital mugging. Maybe next time, before paying the ransom, they can send an SOS smoke signal to the FBI first. That's it for this week's news. Which story did you find most interesting, or any story that you wish was included? Make sure you comment under. Make sure to subscribe, and I see you soon.